Loss, an experience as universal as love, strikes us all at some point in our lives. It's an inescapable part of the human condition, a shared experience that binds us together. Whether it's the death of a loved one, the end of a relationship, or the loss of a job, these experiences are universal. They touch us all, regardless of who we are or where we come from. Imagine a world without loss. It seems ideal, but it's not. Loss is a part of life, a necessary part of our growth and development. It shapes us, molds us, and ultimately, it makes us who we are. It's a catalyst for change, pushing us out of our comfort zones and forcing us to adapt and evolve. And while loss is universal, so too is the grief that follows. Grief is not a sign of weakness or something to be ashamed of. It's a natural response to loss, a testament to our capacity to feel, to love, to care. There's no set timeline for grief, no right or wrong way to process it. Each of us grieves in our own way, at our own pace. And that's okay. Whether it's through tears or laughter, silence or sharing, grief is a journey, a path towards healing. Remember, it is perfectly normal to grieve, and you are not alone in this experience. Grief, a natural response to loss, is a process that everyone navigates differently. What is grief, you might ask? At its core, grief is a raw, often tumultuous emotional response to loss. It is a universal experience, something that ties us together as human beings, yet it is also deeply personal and individual. The way you grieve may not look the same as the way your neighbor, your friend, or your family member grieves. And that's okay. Grief is not just about the heartache we feel when someone we love passes away. It's also about the deep sense of loss we might feel when we go through a breakup, lose a job, experience a change in health, or even when we move away from a place we called home. It's about the loss of something that was, in some way, a part of our identity. The grieving process can be likened to a roller coaster ride filled with highs and lows and twists and turns that we often don't see coming. There are moments of intense sadness and longing, moments of anger and frustration, and moments of numbness where we feel disconnected from the world around us. But in the midst of all these emotions, there is also room for moments of joy, laughter, and love. Grief is not a linear journey. It doesn't follow a set path or a specific timeline. You may find yourself moving back and forth between different feelings and emotions, and that's perfectly normal. It's important to remember that there is no right or wrong way to grieve. It's also crucial to understand that grieving is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of love, of having connected deeply with someone or something. It's a testament to our capacity to feel, to love, and to empathize. Grief can be overwhelming. It can feel like a dark tunnel with no end in sight. But it's important to remember that it's a process, a journey that we embark on in order to heal. It's about learning to live with the loss, to carry it with us, while continuing to find meaning and joy in life. Grief is not a problem to be solved, but a process to be experienced. So allow yourself to grieve, to feel the pain, the sadness, the longing. Allow yourself to remember, to honor, to celebrate the person or the thing that you've lost. Although it may feel overwhelming, grief is a journey we must embark on to heal. Swiss psychiatrist Elisabeth Kubler-Ross introduced a model that outlines 5 stages of grief. This model, while not exhaustive, provides a framework that many find helpful in understanding their own grief journey. However, it's important to remember that these stages may not occur in a linear order, and everyone's experience with grief is unique. The first stage is denial. During this stage, it's common to feel numb or detached from the reality of the loss. You might find yourself thinking, "This can't be happening." Denial is a defense mechanism that buffers the immediate shock of the loss, allowing us to pace our feelings of grief. Next comes anger. As the masking effects of denial begin to wear off, reality sets in, and it's not uncommon to feel frustrated or even irate. You might direct this anger towards inanimate objects, strangers, friends, or family. Even the person you've lost might become a target of your anger. Remember, anger is a necessary part of the healing process. The third stage is bargaining. During this stage, you might find yourself consumed by thoughts of what if and if only. You might make bargains with a higher power, promising to change your ways if only the loss could be reversed. Bargaining is a defense against the emotions of grief, offering temporary escape from your pain. The fourth stage is depression. Unlike clinical depression, this stage of grief is a natural and appropriate response to loss. You may feel intense sadness, despair, or loneliness. You might withdraw from life, feel as though you're living in a fog, or wonder if there's any point in going on. This stage can be frightening, but it's crucial to remember that it's a normal part of the grieving process. The final stage is acceptance. Acceptance doesn't mean you're okay with what happened or that you've moved on. Rather, it means you've come to understand and acknowledge the reality of the loss. This stage doesn't mark the end of the grief, but it can bring a renewed sense of peace and calm. You might start to look forward again, even while you continue to miss and mourn your loss. As we journey through these stages, it's vital to remember that grief is not a linear process. You might move back and forth between stages or skip some altogether. It's not a race, and there's no timeline for when you should reach acceptance. Remember, there is no right or wrong way to grieve. Your journey is personal and unique to you. It's okay if your experience doesn't fit neatly into these 5 stages. What's important is that you allow yourself to feel your grief, seek support when you need it, and be patient with yourself as you navigate through this difficult time. While navigating the stages of grief can be challenging, there are ways to cope and find support. One of the first steps towards healing is reaching out to those around you. It's okay to lean on your friends and family during this time. They can provide a listening ear, a comforting presence, or even just the distraction you might need. Don't hesitate to share your feelings with them. Sometimes just talking about your loved one can help you start to process your loss. Yet, there are times when your immediate circle might not fully understand what you're going through, or you may not want to burden them with your pain. In such cases, consider joining a grief support group. These groups offer a safe space to share your experiences, learn from others who are going through the same journey, and realize that you are not alone in your grief. Now, while it's important to address your emotional well-being, it's equally crucial to take care of your physical health. Grief can take a toll on your body, making it all the more necessary to maintain a balanced diet, get regular exercise, and aim for plenty of rest. These might seem like mundane tasks, but they can make a significant difference in your ability to cope with your loss. Finally, there's no shame in seeking professional help. Therapists and counselors are trained to help you navigate your feelings and find effective coping strategies. If your grief feels overwhelming, or if it's interfering with your daily life, it might be time to reach out to a professional. They can provide tools and techniques to help you manage your grief, and sometimes, having that objective perspective can make all the difference. Remember, there's no right or wrong way to grieve. Everyone's journey is unique, but no matter how you choose to navigate your grief, know that it's okay to ask for help. In the face of loss, remember that it is okay to ask for help. You are not alone. In the past 10 minutes, we have journeyed through the universal experience of loss and the stages of grief. We've come to understand that loss is an inevitable part of life, touching each of us at various times and in different ways. We've acknowledged that grief is a natural response to loss, a testament to the depth of our connections and the love we hold for those we've lost. We've explored the 5 stages of grief: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. These stages are not linear, but are part of a complex process each individual navigates in their own unique way. Additionally, we've reviewed coping strategies, emphasizing that it's okay to grieve, to feel the pain, and to work through it at our own pace. It's crucial to remember that seeking help, whether from friends, family, or professionals, is not a sign of weakness. Remember, grief is not a sign of weakness, but a sign of love and strength. You are not alone, and it's okay to ask for help.